Hey everybody, welcome back to another film of the week. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. And for this week, we are going to be reviewing a Yorgos Lanthimos film. As of the recording, actually, I have last night I went to see Kinds of Kindness, so that review will be coming up next week. So I guess in which should have been a preparation for Kinds of Kindness, I will be reviewing a film from Yorgos Lanthimos, and I'm familiar with some of his work, and we've actually reviewed one of his films on this channel, his most recent work before Kinds of Kindness, that being Poor Things, which I wasn't that crazy on when it came out. So I decided to look into some of his other films, mainly ones that were free, or, were available on some streaming platforms. And excuse me, my hair is just super, I haven't taken a shower. I figured to check this film out because of his work, it's the one that I have not heard the most of. I've heard other films of his, noteworthy films like Dogtooth, The Favorite. It's another film of his, The Lobster, which I've seen and I quite enjoyed. This one I didn't hear much of, and curious to check it out and just finished watching it. That film being The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which was co-written and directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, released in 2017, distributed by A24. This stars Colin Farrell and Nicole Kidman, as they are well vetted in the hospital and the medical business. For Colin Farrell, he is a heart surgeon, and the film opens with that of a open heart surgery, an actual open heart surgery, which, to the point of why it needs to be there, is pretty just absent outside of just extremism and shock value. But hey, whatever it takes to get you to literally be interested, I have no idea. But that is how the film starts out. And we are then introduced to this family, and it's a family of four. Colin Farrell and Nicole Kidman be the mother and father, and then they have two kids, one being a boy and a girl. And amidst all this, Colin Farrell is taking a young boy named Stephen, I believe. No, Martin, played by Barry Keoghan, I think that's how you say his name, taking him under his wing like a little protege because he claims to be quite interested in the medical business, specifically that of what Colin Farrell's character is doing. And at some point he gets, integrated with the family, gets to meet everybody, gets intertwined and all that sort of stuff, and eventually, in quite a blatant scene, he presents his agenda to Colin Farrell, which is that of a pretty much a torturous scenario where he needs to kill someone in his family, or else everybody in his family dies, because as is happening throughout the film, there's a illness that is befallen on the family. Of course, Barry Keoghan's character being the cause of it, but no rationality behind it, no drugs, nothing that can be discovered. It's just something that is happening to them, and it is causing paralysis. It is causing them to not be hungry, and it is a slow descent into death itself, and eventually they will all die. But in how Barry Keoghan presents it to Colin Farrell, if he is to eliminate someone in his family because of past experiences between him and Colin Farrell revolving around Barry's father, the circumstances with that is what's motivating him to do this. If Colin Farrell is able to kill one person within his family, then everybody will be fine. Otherwise, everybody is going to be killed. So that's the scenario at play here. And the thing, I've addressed this in the Kinds of Kindness review, which again we'll be putting up pretty soon here. But looking this up just now, apparently there is it apparently is trying to be an absurdist approach again, but when they tag on the absurdist line for this, I just feel it doesn't really suit it as well. I think that what it's properly more so, is something much more serious and something much more, I think, much more well crafted compared to films like Poor Things and Kinds of Kindness, where I do believe that they're actually trying to be more so of an absurdist-like approach, embedding itself within comedy, and other factors, which I think absurdist-like behavior is much more complimentary when it is within a comedic setup. And something like this, that the absurdist elements that they may be alluding to are actually more disturbing and actually building more of the weight, the tension that is at play within the circumstance. Because, ultimately it is that of a dissent, and it is ultimately an acceptance of events. That is about rudimentary what the film is exploring, about further dissent and coming to a certain conclusion that can be quite disturbing, and it ends in a very disturbing note. I can understand where it might see it be labeled absurd because of just how it is visually, quite literally playing out. But in how I feel about that, I don't see it as something to put my guard down on, or to feel like, oh, I can kind of administer a chuckle or this and that, because that's what the gimmick about absurdist-like behavior lends itself to. I just don't see that at all within The Killing of a Sacred Deer. It's something that takes itself very, very seriously, and it's rewarding in that fact. I think that you get, oddly enough, something that reminded me of Lynn Ramsey in terms of its disturbance, how it dawns on you. I'd echo a film, I think it came out the same exact year of this, with a film like You Were Never Really Here. In terms of this disturbance, it dawns on you. And it's a film that utilizes disturbance in a proper way. It's not just with the exception with that opening sequence, that opening shot, more specifically. This, I feel, utilizes disturbance in a way to enhance its drama and to enhance its situation and to give more weight to the situation at play. And it's not there just for shock value. And it's properly building in that tension and properly building that circumstance. A lot of that exaggerative-like quality that you may come to expect about Yorgos Lanthimos, it's not present really here. There are some scenes that may illustrate that, yes, but it is all to do in the service of building up this wave of disturbance, this wave of uncertainty, and to give weight toward this psychological endeavor, trying to build up the mindsets of each specific character, what is going on inside, and how it translates to their actions on the outside, specifically with that of Nicole Kidman and Colin Farrell. And also with Barry, to some extent, Barry Keoghan's character. And with the kids. So, it's disturbing, but it's properly disturbing, and I think that it works to its benefit. And, there are strengths that come with Yorgos Lanthimos, generally speaking, that I think is also illustrated here. I love the framework. I think the dialogue is well told, well crafted. I think that it's not pretentious, and it's not self-indulgent. It's just suits well for the characters. Performances are very good, especially Barry Keoghan. I think he produces a very menacing presence. When he's around, there is something quite off-putting about him, and it is just I think that honestly, a better example, if I were to bring up Lynn Ramsey, better example, I think, would be We Need to Talk About Kevin. I think that there is something of a symbiotic link, potentially, between those two, especially when you look at Barry Keoghan's performance. It does share, in some capacity, some of that, when it comes to, I would say, maybe with those characters, I don't know. Or at least just just by the design of the film, there just seems to be the echo, that whisper of Lynn Ramsey, whether that being from We Need to Talk About Kevin or from You Were Never Really Here. It just has that presence. Lynn Ramsey, it just sort of has an echo in this film. And thankfully, with Lynn Ramsey, her work is just splendid, and it, that sensibility that of utilizing disturbance and building of tension, it is the concern of The Killing of a Sacred Deer. It's not to be just, like flamboyant or just using certain visuals for shock value. It's all there to enhance its drama and to make things more weightful. And it is felt, and it is earnest in that regard. So I think of the films that I've seen of his, I have to revisit Lobster because it's been a while since I've seen it, but of the films that I've seen of his, I really think that this is my favorite because of how it commits itself to a certain tone and not trying to be a conflict of interest, tonally speaking. Because it just feels like that's always the case with him, where he wants to be funny, but he wants to be taken serious at the same time. This decides to be taken seriously the entire time. And whatever absurdities that might be embedded in there, on a visual front, I don't believe it's there to be taken in a humorous-like manner. I think that it's all there to enhance a certain disturbance and not there to be funny, Whereas in other cases, like when we get to Kinds of Kindness, there's just things there that it's just, you can sense a feeling underneath the visuals of what you're seeing. And it's concerning, and it just doesn't feel appropriate. This understands what needs to be the appropriate tone and feeling within the circumstance. And I just think that it just works better for me. And I think that as a film overall, by style, by performances, by progression, I think that there's just a lot more to offer with Killing of a Sacred Deer than with, say, something like Poor Things or Kinds of Kindness, right? Those films feel much more self-indulgent than with something like this. This just has so much more of a grip and so much more of a solid craftsmanship and less so of a feeling of self-indulgence. So it's I think it's pretty solid. I do think, though, it does feel long. That's my issue, I will say, with the film, is that it feels long, and it is 2 hours, but it does definitely feels like a film that is lingering. It does. There's a feeling of stretch that's felt within the pacing of it. I mean, it doesn't feel like we're moving things along at one point. It just feels like we kind of are walking a little bit, and then we speed up a little bit. So, if I were to take any issues with the film, it would be on pacing. I don't think that it's paced well enough, and because you do forget that it's a 2-hour film. You'd think that maybe it's like 2.5 hours or something like that. It just feels stretched. But there's still, thankfully, a lot of things there that are really well done, and it just feels a lot more suited to his sensibilities, this particular craftsmanship. Committing itself to a certain tone and not trying to split the difference, I think, benefits so much more, and I get more of his vision and more of his voice than, say, something like Poor Things, or in what you will see in my review of Kinds of Kindness. So I think it's pretty good, but I think that stretch is felt in terms of how it's paced, but generally speaking, pretty good. And I want to see more of this than what we have gotten recently of Lahimos. So those are my thoughts on The Killing of a Sacred Deer. I thought it was pretty good. I'm genuinely surprised because I lately have not been a fan of his. I enjoy The Lobster, but I think if I revisit it, I might take issues with it. But with this film specifically, I think it just has a better grip tonally, and it benefits so much more because of that. So you guys know your thoughts on The Killing of a Sacred Deer. I know people will bring up other films of his, but I just don't recall people bringing up this film especially. But you guys let me know your thoughts on The Killing of a Sacred Deer, your guys' thoughts on Yorgos Lanthimos in general, your thoughts on Kinds of Kindness. It's out now. Let me know your thoughts on it if you guys have seen it in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until then, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.